The flash drive sat on Elaine Porter's desk like a secret waiting to be heard. No label. No clue who sent it. Just a whisper of danger in something so small. When she finally opened the files, there were 5 folders. One was titled Use of Force, Confidential. Another, simply, Dispatch. Inside the dispatch folder were audio logs from the night Sonia Maddox called 911. Elaine pressed play. The hiss of static filled her office, followed by the calm voice of the dispatcher. Then, Sonia's trembling words. Someone's outside. I think they're trying to get in. Next, Officer Caleb Drew's voice crackled through the radio. Unit 7 responding. I'm 2 minutes out. But what came after that made Elaine's blood run cold. Another voice. Male. Confident. Copy that, Drew. Handle it quiet this time. Handle it quiet this time. It sounded less like a command, and more like a warning. Elaine leaned closer to the speaker, replaying it again and again. Whoever spoke wasn't dispatch. The voice belonged to someone higher up. Someone who shouldn't have been on that channel. She cross-checked the metadata. The timestamp? 11:38 p.m. That was exactly 4 minutes before the official report said Drew arrived at Sonia's house. The missing minutes. And now, the flash drive had proved it. He was there earlier, and he'd been told to handle it quiet. Elaine printed everything, sealing copies in a folder. But before she could leave the office, her phone buzzed. A blocked number. She hesitated, then answered. Stop digging, a man's voice said flatly. You don't know who you're dealing with. Then the line went dead. 2 days later, the sheriff's department announced a press conference. Sheriff Daniels stood at the podium, flanked by stone-faced officers. He called the shooting a tragedy. He said his department takes accountability seriously. He promised transparency. But Elaine saw the tremor in his hands, the way his eyes darted to the side whenever Drew's name came up. She'd seen that look before, the look of a man trying to protect something. Behind him, reporters shouted questions. Why did the body cam start late? Why did the dispatch logs change? No answers. Only the sheriff's final words. We urge the public not to jump to conclusions. But Brookhaven had already jumped. Protests swelled again. Posters, candles, chants. Justice for Sonia. No more silence. And for the first time, Caleb Drew appeared in court. His head was shaved, his expression hollow. He pleaded not guilty. During the hearing, prosecutors revealed a fragment of the body cam that hadn't been released before. In the reflection of the kitchen window, just after the gunshot, you could see Drew lower his weapon and whisper something. 4 words. They told me to. The courtroom gasped. Elaine scribbled the words in her notebook, underlined twice. Who were they? The prosecution painted Drew as unstable, reckless, power-hungry. The defense called him a scapegoat for a broken system. But everyone in that room felt it. Something bigger than one man was hiding behind the badge. Weeks passed. Evidence mounted. The leaked memo, the missing dispatch minutes, the cryptic voice telling him to handle it quiet. And then, out of nowhere, the sheriff resigned. No explanation. Just a statement about personal reasons. Elaine finally got a message from her silent source inside the department. One line only. Check the training logs. She did. And that's when everything made sense. The Brookhaven Sheriff's Department had quietly implemented an off-the-books rapid response protocol, a rule that encouraged deputies to act aggressively in perceived threat calls, even before assessing the scene. The directive was unsigned. But every copy she found carried the same initials at the bottom. D.D. Sheriff Daniel Daniels. It was his policy that sent Caleb Drew into that house with his gun already drawn. And it was his silence that buried the truth. Elaine published the story anyway. It went viral overnight. Headlines blared across the country, hidden policy linked to Maddox shooting. Under public pressure, state investigators reopened the case. They subpoenaed internal emails. They found proof that Sheriff Daniels had been warned months earlier, by his own sergeant, that Officer Drew was a risk in civilian encounters. The note attached to that warning? The same 3 words Elaine had seen on the memo. He warned them that he was Sergeant Marcus Lane, a training officer who'd been quietly transferred out of Brookhaven right after Sonia's death. When investigators tracked him down, Lane finally told them everything. He said Drew had broken down during training exercises, panicked during simulated calls, and once pointed a weapon at a fellow trainee by mistake. Lane had written detailed reports, begging command to suspend him. But Daniels overruled it, saying, "We need men who act first." That decision cost Sonia Maddox her life. When the trial resumed, the jury watched the footage one last time. They heard the audio, the whispers, the fear in Sonia's voice. And they heard Drew's confession. "They told me to." After 2 days of deliberation, the verdict came back, guilty of second-degree murder. The crowd outside erupted, tears, relief, disbelief. But Elaine didn't cheer. Because justice for Sonia Maddox wasn't just about one verdict. It was about the hundreds of other calls that ended the same way, quietly. She met Grace Maddox on the courthouse steps. The older woman held her daughter's photo against her chest. Her eyes were tired but strong. "They can't bring her back," she whispered, "but maybe now, they'll listen." Months later, a new sheriff took office. Brookhaven passed a law requiring every officer to record full response times, no more missing minutes. Elaine moved on to another story, another town. But every night, when the rain starts to fall, she still hears that voice on the radio. "Handle it quiet this time." Because behind every tragedy, behind every file labeled closed, there's always someone who saw it coming, and someone who tried to stop it. Justice didn't bring Sonia Maddox back. But her story forced the system to face itself. And in a world where silence kills, sometimes the truth is the only sound that matters.